Friday to you. We didn't even know if the Republic would still be standing today, did we? But we made it. Yes, here we are, Friday. All is well. Looking forward to July 4th as we count down to restoration, getting us out of these horrible, dark days of the Biden winter. Yes, one of our favorite posters in the whole world says it all. Oh, that's sad, isn't it? Bad thing is, it's actually happening. I know there's a few people that wake up every day and say, thank God that Joe Biden is president, on their way to their therapist or their pharmacy to pick up their daily medication. Anyway, because we know him here as what, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, the thief in chief. Yeah, the thief in chief. Yeah. Thief in chief. Yeah. All right. Happy weekend, buddy. We'll see you later. Who is we? Well, we is my buddy and me, Danny Thompson. Yeah, we're here to help you count down all the horrible things about the Biden regime, in which we're going to get into right now. Let's go. And we start with the poster child for the Biden regime. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I would not make fun of this person at all if they weren't trying to do what they have done to themselves to young men all over the country, probably all over the world, as we found out in his confirmation hearings, wanting to accelerate doing this to young men on the street boys. Shouldn't we be getting them a home instead of changing their being? Do you know what happens to street boys who start looking like him? Yeah. Yeah, we have fun, but it's not funny. You, sir, are no Shania Twain. Anyway, we have some information he may or may not like. I don't know how this would set with the good Dr. Rachel Levin, whatever. New York City school encourages kids to stop using words like mom, dad in inclusive language guide. Hey, you, lady. No, that's probably wrong time. You, person who identifies as a woman. Can you come and help me? Hey. Well, I don't even know what you'd call them. What do you call them? Parent figure. Hey, parent. Or is that bad? I don't know. I don't know. See, this is what happens. Things just don't make sense. And one of the reasons they don't is due to Secular Democrats of America, seculardems.org. Go read the paper this weekend. Stop. I wonder what it says. Read it. Come on. Get to know. Call them and say, stop following that. All right. You do know someone gave a little talk last night to the nation. So that means we get to hear from who? Uncle Joe. That's right. Take it away.
Come ride the little train that is rolling down the tracks to the junction. Forget about your cares, it is time to relax at the junction. Lots of curves, you bet, and even more when you get to the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
There's a little hotel called the Shady Rest at the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
It is run by Kate. Come and be her guest at the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
And that's Uncle Joe. He's a moving kind of slow at the junction. Petticoat Junction.
Yes, Uncle Joe moving kind of slow, and he was last night, wasn't he? Yeah, I think that's full speed. Yeah, they were cranking up the little wind-up thing on his back when he went out. That was it, ladies. This is as good as it gets. All right, where are we starting with? Oh, this is something we're going to have to just keep repeating to them that he knows it. Obviously, he just only applies it in certain situations.
We need to remember the government isn't some foreign force in a distant capital. No, it's us, all of us. We the people.
He doesn't any more believe that than Barack Obama did. We the people. Yes, that's what it is. We the people. Anyway, just thought I'd throw that one in. They're trying to slip a fast one on us, make him sound like we're not a socialist country. If we're not heading toward communism, why are they pushing unions so hard? Everybody has to be in a union. Why? Because communists start pushing unions. But this was about COVID, so let's go, Joe.
But this is one of the most complex operations we've ever undertaken as a nation in a long time. But this is one of the most complex operations we've ever undertaken as a nation in a long time.
I wouldn't be picking line by line, but as we heard yesterday, Jen Psaki said what? That he was going over it line by line and making line by line edits. And with all of his editing, he says, this is the most complicated endeavor situation, I already forgot what he said, we've ever undertaken in a long time. Ever long time. Can't really balance that off. And again, he's not a speechwriter because used to he copied his speeches. That's why he was so late to the presidential party and could only get in as vice president until he learned the secret. Hey, Joe, the more you hide in your basement, the better you do. The most consequential, hardest endeavor we've ever taken in a long time. Line by line edits, ladies and gentlemen. I kid you not. Shouldn't make fun of him. He's old and senile. I don't think he's senile yet. He's got some problems, but he was doing, they kept pushing. She said that over and over. He was going over the speech and making sure it was right. This is as good as it gets. All right.
Months ago, this country didn't have nearly enough vaccine supply to vaccinate all or ever near all of the American public. But soon we will.
All right. I've got to play the next clip and then we'll put it all together for you. Okay. Where is it? Here we go. Right in a row. Come on there. Come on.
When I took office 50 days ago, only 8% of the Americans, after months, only 8% of those over the age of 65 had gotten their first vaccination. Today, that number is 65%. Just 14% of Americans over the age of 75 50 days ago had gotten their first shot. Today, that number is well over 70%.
Well, what's wrong with that? Well, 2 months before there was no vaccine. Not in any quantity. It had just started rolling out. And he says that in such a way, before I was here, only 6% were vaccinated after months. We didn't have the vaccine, Joe. There was nobody ready. It was starting. You're still following President Trump's overall plan. It took you forever to think, oh, get it into the pharmacy. States were already doing that. Florida was already doing that. It was being given to the states. They got to decide who did what and everything. And now states are complaining all the time. You don't hear about it, but they're complaining all the time. We don't have enough vaccine. See, that is not just dishonest. That is lying. That is lying. After months, only this many were vaccinated. There wasn't any vaccine. It had just got approved. They were producing it. For 2 months, when I got in, we didn't have any vaccine. It was being produced, and we were already vaccinating 800,000 or so a day. I'm not saying they haven't made some great strides, but so would any administration. You see, if you're really doing good and you know what you're doing, you don't have to lie about your accomplishments to make yourself look better. You never look better by making lying about the other guy, because it comes out as we learn. And yes, actually we have 2 more clips, but one more speaking clip, which is good for all of us.
We've been working with vaccine manufacturers, Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, to manufacture and purchase hundreds of millions of doses of these 3 safe, effective vaccines. And now, at the direction and with the assistance of my administration, Johnson & Johnson is working together with a competitor, Merck, to speed up and increase the capacity to manufacture new Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which is one shot.
If you are a regular viewer of this show, when the regime first started taking credit for the Johnson & Johnson and Merck collaboration, the New York Times reporter, who has not been in the briefing room since, shot that down quickly. Trapped Jen in it and everything, saying, so this just started? Oh, yeah, it's all us. Well, how come we reported on it as early as January 21st? Yeah, the day after he came into office. How come we already knew it and they had been talking, and I saw an article back in December on it, or at least I think back in December, before we were doing this show, so I didn't know to keep it. Just say, and with our help, we are now doing this. Something. Don't get up at our direction. They were already going in that direction, Joe. You just can't trust. I realize politicians stretch the truth. They try to make themselves look as good as possible. But come on. These things have already been disproven. Is anybody going to fact check him? Hardly anybody. Me. I don't care if he lies about, being shot at when he's on foreign trips, which he still does, and it's been disproven. I don't care about those lies, okay? That's just, anchors lie about that. Hillary lied about, people lie about being shot at. It makes them seem, he was shot at for us. All these things. But when you're lying about policy because you want yourself to look good in such a non-credible way, it's just aggravating. And then, of course, at the end.
So God bless you all. And please, God, give solace to all those people who lost someone. And may God protect our troops. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I look forward to seeing you.
You notice, and if you watch the speech, they showed him walking down the long hallway. The lonely leader, which they all do that. And you also heard the press calling out behind him, Mr. President, what about this? What about that? You see him turn. They cut all that off. That's all you can get through the White House side. Mr. President, why have the press there if he can't answer a question? How many of you were watching when we showed that Jen said, oh, you've had 40 opportunities to ask him questions? She said by the end of the month we'd have a press conference. Do you think this man can make it through a 30-minute press conference with real questions? But the chief of staff said, oh, it'll be a few weeks. And you really believe he's standing up to foreign leaders and getting his point across? He could barely get his point across in a speech that he's been working on for months. But everybody knew that. Oh, guess what time it is?
I know I could cry. I just can't find the answers to the questions that keep going through my mind. Baby, is it time?
Oh, and I must say, those of you who have tried to watch the YouTube version of yesterday's show may notice an awkward pause somewhere right before, right before the second clip of Jen. That's because Fleetwood Mac called and highly disliked that we were using them as a lead-in to Jen, and we had to cut it out. So, watch it on Rumble, then you can see it. All right. Jen, tell us about, because I don't have the clip where pretend President Biden is telling us about that big July 4th party in the backyard. But because I didn't want to do it. I mean, I have it, I could play it, but everybody else is playing it. So I thought I would have a clip of Jen trying to explain it. Yeah. All right, Jen, let's go.
Go ahead. Last night, the president again said more Americans have died from COVID-19 than died in World War I, World War II, Vietnam War, and now at 9/11. The numbers don't bear that out. So why has he said that again for a second time?
Well, I think I'll have to check on that specifically for you. I don't have the numbers all in front of me either, but if it's important to you, I will follow up with you after the briefing on it.
Well, you've been called out for it once before, so it was a surprise. We know he did a line-by-line edit, so it's a surprise that it went in again.
Well, I'm glad you're focused on the important business, but I'm happy to check on it for you. Go ahead and...
Oh, wrong clip. My mistake. That was just Jen being flat out mean. Jen being flat out mean. The guy asked a good question. Why does he keep saying a lie? And she gets mad about it. Says, saying, I don't know. I'll check into that. I realize that's been looked. It's probably something they know that we don't. They know the actual count of how many people died in World War I, World War II. I think they bypassed the Korean War, Vietnam, and 9/11. See, he's saying it's wrong. He did a line-by-line edit. Why is it still there? Matter of fact, Jen, I think he just called your boss a... It's true. I think he did. And she didn't like it. Just, if that's what's important to you. The man is lying when he doesn't have to. That's when lies are the worst. I know people like that. They will lie when they don't have to. The truth would work better. We've lost over 500,000, much less than that if you do an exact count instead of throwing everybody in. But anyway, why do you have to try to make it sound worse than it is? Why do you have to lie so much, people? I don't understand. Was that a lie, Joe? What? Oh. The old Joe Biden head nod. Yes, that was a lie. Well, what do we do about? I mean, they called you a liar, Joe. What do we do? What do we do?
Full stop. Full stop.
Us full stop or you full stop? I'm confused now, so one of us needs to stop. I know that. Somebody needs to stop. All right. Now we have, I hope, let me check here. The explanation of the 4th of July. Those nice little intimate backyard parties. Been doing that in Florida and Texas for months, and we're still here. Matter of fact, some of us live in people's backyards where they have barbecue grills now, where it's just smoking all day long. But for those of you who yet have not been able to do that,
Questions about July 4th. In order to reach that goal, I mean, is there a certain percentage of Americans that need to be vaccinated? Or if there's no number, what does the situation need to look like? Do we need to continue on the pace that the country has been on in recent weeks?
Well, I think it's important to note that we're not talking about a July 4th celebration on the mall. We're not quite there yet, right? Or we're not talking about soccer stadiums being filled in communities across the country. That might require something more like what you're talking about. We're talking about the American people being motivated and excited by the fact that if they get vaccinated, if they abide by that there is going to be access, there will be access to vaccines, they will be eligible, and if they take steps to get vaccinated, to continue to wear masks, to continue to observe social distancing, then looking ahead to July 4th is an aspirational moment where people can plan small get-togethers in their backyard. But we're not talking about a mass event here or a return to total normalcy. That's not what this is. This is a step more toward the kind of socialization and engagement with friends and family that he knows as a human being people have been missing over the
last year. He knows as a human being you've been missing that. And of course, the correct thing to do right now would be say, what? And that's probably the one time you will hear the word aspirational put in a sentence this month. But she did say something about people gathering in soccer stadiums. I know every 4th of July, you see all the pictures of people gathering in soccer stadiums. What country is she in? We're not in Ireland. We're not in Great Britain or Europe. We're not in Mexico. See, they're going to change the NFL to soccer. They've already done it. We have this picture of a soccer stadium, ladies and gentlemen. Look how huge that is. Yes, that is Gillette Field in Foxborough, Massachusetts. The New England Revolution play there. Major League Soccer. Oh, you probably know it as where the Patriots play. You know that once vaunted championship football team? But she goes to soccer stadiums. Yeah, Gillette Field, soccer stadium. And to be fair, there are a few soccer stadiums, around the country, and that's their main purpose. But most Major League Soccer teams play in other stadiums, soccer fields, soccer stadiums. Who says that? Nobody in this country. Oh, let's go to the soccer stadium for 4th of July. You go to a baseball game for the 4th of July, Jen, which the Texas Rangers are saying they are opening up at 100% capacity for opening day. Go Rangers! They won't win, but they're trying. All right, now let me set this up. Over the last few days, there have been questions because AstraZeneca, which is not a U.S.-based pharmaceutical manufacturer, developer, etc., they are based in Europe. Well, they have manufacturing plants here, and we do have a contract with them to provide, however many million doses of vaccine, but they're not FDA approved yet. So it's just sitting there, but they are approved in Europe. Europe has been asking, can we get some of their vaccine? Because Europe is having major shortfalls. And they've been saying no. And all through the week, people have been asking her, and she's been saying, I don't know anything about it. Oh, no, that's not happening. That's a foreign country. Any vaccine maker can make any deal they want. Now, again, We've got more than enough pledged to us, so I don't understand this. I guess if it was going to Guatemala or Honduras, but anyway, this is why they're still on them, because it's like, we've got all this. We're not even using AstraZeneca. Why can't the poor, struggling, dying Europeans have some vaccine from us?
There are more than 10 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine in the U.S. that can't be administered here, but could save lives in Europe and other places in the world if the company was freed from the obligation to deliver those doses to the U.S. government. The company has appealed to the administration to let them export those doses. Why has the president not agreed?
Well, let me just take a step back here and explain kind of what's going on here. First, as we've stated a few times, but worth restating, the president's priority and focus is on ensuring that the American people are vaccinated. Obviously, he made some significant announcements last night about the timeline of that, and we will have enough doses in our hands by the end of May to ensure we can make that happen. AstraZeneca is also not yet approved by the FDA. We also want to make sure we have maximal flexibility, that we are oversupplied and overprepared, and that we have the ability to provide vaccines, whatever the most effective ones are, to the American public. There are still 1,400 people who are dying in our country every single day, and we need to focus on addressing that. At this time, there have been requests around the world, of course, from a number of countries who have requested doses from the United States, and we have not provided doses from the U.S. government to anyone. So this is not about Europe. This is about our focus and our priority, which we have been very public and clearly stated. And what you're referencing in terms of access to doses, of course, the production, part of the production is through the defense, it is enabled because of the Defense Production Act. There is a contract obligation to deliver on the U.S. doses and to fulfill that contract. But any company, AstraZeneca is not a U.S. company. They can also work with, and even if they were, they can work with any country to fulfill and to work on a deal to get access to doses. Go ahead.
Jennifer,
Clearly stated. What? Or, as my new friend wants to say, you may recognize him from more villainous days.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you, sir? You don't know what you're talking about, do you, sir?
He was actually in Texas when he said that, too. Works out well, doesn't it? Since I'm in Texas. She does not even know what she's talking about. If that's clearly stated, then I have a full head of hair. That's... I don't know what she's talking about. But we have a lot of COVID news. Let's just go on. Now, remember, this is the science administration. They're based on science. Everything's going to be based on science. Science. She blinded me with science. I don't know why I haven't got that clip yet. I forget about it. Scientists accuse CDC of misinterpreting their research for harmful school reopening guidelines. They are changing what the scientists said. A group of researchers whose work has been cited by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is accusing the agency of ignoring their positive findings about low transmission rates in schools and putting out overly stringent school reopening guidelines. We follow the science. This is what the scientists said, kinda. This is kind of what they meant. I'm sure they meant it like this, yeah. The four researchers, Dr. Tara Henderson and Dr. Daniel Johnson of the University of Chicago, Dr. Monica Gandhi, how can you argue with somebody named Gandhi? Dr. Monica Gandhi of the University of California, San Francisco, and Dr. Tracy. Dr. Tracy Beth Hogue of the University of California, Davis, Dr. Tracy, that can't be right. Labeled the guidelines released last month by the CDC harmful in a Tuesday U.S. Today op-ed, arguing that the science has shown schools can remain fully open safely. Fully safely. That's weird. The researchers say the CDC, which on its website cites one of their studies showing minimal transmission in Wisconsin schools with high community positivity rates, ignored their research, as well as findings from the broader scientific community that have highlighted the low risk associated with COVID-19 for children and the lack of science mandating 6 feet of distance between children wearing masks. There's no science on that? I mean, ladies and gentlemen, the lies just keep coming. Just avarice and greed, avarice and greed. Little cat on the hot tin roof there for you. Although the guidance cites the work performed across Wisconsin districts performed by our group, the researchers said the CDC guidance does not take that data and new analysis from that data set into account. They argue keeping schools closed or even partially closed is unwarranted, is harming children, and has become a human rights issue. Yeah, we need to go to the UN. We need to set up refugee camps on school grounds with kids in it, wanting to get in. Then this administration will treat them compassionately and with care and with humanity. Yeah, you know, one of the questions Jen said that the pretend president asked about the kids who come across the border, are there teachers there? Are there teachers to help them? We need teachers to help our kids, Mr. Pretend. All right, where are we? They argue keeping schools closed or even partially closed is unwarranted, is harming children, and has become a human rights issue, and sought to dispel fears about the impact of variants, arguing Switzerland and Belgium have demonstrated that K through 12, not just K through 8, 12 schools can remain fully open safely even after the UK variant becomes the dominant strain. The CDC did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the complaints of the researchers. Well, of course not. They got caught. See, they didn't expect those researchers to open their big mouths. Just bury your head in your lab coat, people. We've got lies to spread here. President Joe Biden ran on a campaign indicating that science and data would guide his policies, the researchers wrote. As we approach the anniversary of the first COVID shutdown, this approach is needed more than ever, especially when it comes to schools. A study published Tuesday on the partial reopening of public schools in New York City found students did not have a higher prevalence of COVID-19 compared with the general community. Though the transmission rate was higher among teachers and staff, just 191 of the 36,000 students and staffers in schools quarantined after a school virus exposure tested positive for the virus, a 0.5% transmission rate. All right, let's go to slide number 5. Reopening schools has been a crucial and divisive issue for both the Trump and Biden administrations after drawing backlash for an initial suggestion that schools reopen as little as 1 day a week by springtime. President Pretend Biden has pushed to reopen schools as quickly as possible with an eye on 5 days a week of in-person learning by May. By May. Well, who wants to start school in May? The CDC guidelines released last month divide schools into 4 different zones, some of which are safe to fully reopen and some that aren't, and encourages safety precautions like universal mask usage and physical distancing of at least 6 feet. Numerous epidemiologists And infectious disease doctors have highlighted that the CDC 6-foot guidance does not reflect scientific findings. Some states, including Colorado and Massachusetts, have opted to overlook that guidance, which limits how many students schools are able to bring back. And, it's just... See, what they did, they said, oh, you can fully own if you're not in an area where there's a lot of COVID outbreak. Well, most of the kids go to schools in areas where there's a lot of COVID. We're going by the science. No, the CDC it is under political control. That's why they opened up the facilities at the border. And yet people act like, oh, no, they're an independent agency. That was just Trump. Well, you aren't paying attention. Now, this is funny in a sad way because we have to have an equitable vaccine rollout. Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine distribution in poor black communities raises race questions. Yeah, because it's only 75% effective. So by doing that, sending the Johnson & Johnson vaccine to these poor black communities, we don't want them to have the 94% effective vaccine. Now remember, Johnson & Johnson's is a true vaccine, whereas the other two, Pfizer and Moderna, they are not true vaccines. They just... break down the virus or repel it or so. I mean, it's not a true vaccine. So actually, the people in the poor black communities would probably be safer overall, but so far nobody's dropped dead from a Johnson & Johnson vaccine. People have dropped dead from the others. And but this is an equitable thing, but yeah, how come you're sending this to us poor people? In Detroit, the mayor got mad. How come we're getting Johnson & Johnson? Everybody else is getting the good stuff. Yeah. Oh, this is under Biden. This isn't under Trump. Obviously, Trump wouldn't even have sent them any vaccine. Yeah, because he hated all blacks. COVID-19, Biden administration opens nursing home doors. They've removed their guidance. Most nursing homes are tied into Medicaid or Medicare, so they give guidance. And so now you can go to nursing homes without mask or anything. Go see your loved ones if your state allows you to. Which is, I don't know, you still got those. I guess they've got vaccinations. I don't know. I don't know. Where are we? Here we go. I bet you didn't know this. You would know it if you followed CNN, which I only do in print because to watch them requires more than I get paid now. While states repeal mask mandates, the federal government quietly considers mask regulations to workers. Oh no, that's just on federal grounds. Not so fast. A federal regulatory agency is approaching the deadline to decide whether masks should be required at the workplace. Oh, who would that federal regulatory agency be? Huh? Oh, let's see. As a response to an executive order by President Biden, on January 21st, President Pretend Joe Biden's first full day in office, he signed an executive order that asked the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, to consider if any new emergency temporary standards are needed to protect workers from COVID-19. That could include masks in workplaces if necessary, the order said, and such standards would need to be issued by March 15th. All right. Now, see, OSHA can fine. OSHA can even jail. So they're going to play hardball, ladies and gentlemen. It's like, okay, we can't make you wear a mask in your house, but we can make you wear one on the job. Or OSHA can shut a whole company down. It's one of the most powerful agencies in the country. Most people don't know that. But this, and they caught it pretty quick. It's just kind of funny. Vaccine distribution site accidentally gave out empty shots. It's like 9 or 10 of them. There was nothing in the syringe, and wait a minute. Just getting an armful of air. It's just a lot of fun, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, here's some other non-COVID information. House passes bill expanding background checks for gun sales. My wife made us go work out this morning, and it's just messed up my speaking ability for some reason. So, what this is, there's a lot to it, but because of time, background checks, you go in to buy a gun, you have to fill out a form, and the FBI sends back, oh, they're terrorists or not, and make sure you're not a felon, etc., etc. I don't know. How come felons can now vote, and they want them to vote, but they can't have a gun? Oh, yeah, a lot of felons have guns, don't they? What am I talking about? Anyway, what it is, see, they keep saying we need background checks. No, that is a tightening of the background check law, because everybody that has a license to sell firearms has to do background checks. And people say, oh, it's the gun, not at gun shows. You do if you have a federal license to sell. But private individuals do not have to do background checks. So if my neighbor came to me and wanted to buy one of our 5,000 or more firearms, no, we don't have quite that many. Come on. I think it's 4,999. Anyway, I could sell to them without doing a background check. Oh, but no, we can't have that. I can't even give to them under this law without having a background check. And so I would have to go to a licensed dealer, have them work through a background check, and then, that way. And you might say, well, that's good because your neighbor could be as crazy as you. Oh, probably crazier. But anyway, no, you couldn't even give a firearm to your son or daughter. I don't want to be sexist here. All right, so where is it? I thought this was great. Now listen, even if this passes, don't worry, because here, people could still temporarily trade and share firearms at shooting ranges, on hunting trips, and when it is necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm, according to the new regulations. So, this does not mean you would have to do a background check to, swap out guns at the gun range or while you're hunting or if someone's trying to kill you. I would give you the gun to protect yourself, but I've got to go do a background check first. Okay? And that'll come back in 3 to 5 days. So try to hold off the attacker till then. See, aren't they nice? Aren't they nice? They're just so generous in all their offerings. Of course, it's not expected to get through the Senate, but they are pushing to get rid of the filibuster. So, ladies and gentlemen, who knows? Who knows? Because we are in what? The dark days of the Biden regime. What else do we have? Oh, if you wondered what's going on in Portland, well, the rioters are still attacking every day. Still fighting that same federal courthouse. And some great reasoning here. I'll just tell you because of time. Number one, they took down the fence around the courthouse, so now they can get up to it. So that's the number one reason. Number two, they're attacking because of the George Floyd trial, which hasn't even started yet, but they're warming up and whatever other reason. And there's a pipeline. There's a pipeline going from Canada, and it's going to go through Portland. They want that stopped. And, of course, it's not terrorism. It's not domestic terrorism as long as they're not actually, having trials inside, long as a judge and all them. Long as it's after hours, you can attack any federal courthouse you want, and it's just disturbing the peace. Yeah, That's what our new Attorney General said, Merrick Garland, the great legal mind of our time. If that's the great legal mind of our time, then we could have Snoopy in there and call him the legal beagle and we'd be okay. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that's just stupid. And this, I'm not going to comment. I don't want to be protested. Minneapolis will pay George Floyd's family $27 million to settle a wrongful death lawsuit, which hasn't even been proven in court that it was wrongful death. $27 million. Makes you want to get a family member to volunteer to be wrongfully killed by police. I'm telling you, draw lots. You know, you're the one. Okay. And I'm not mentioning anything else in that. Except, you know what time it is? Make a run for the border. Yes, time to make a run for the border. And here we go. This is National Security Administration Chief Jake Sullivan, and he has asked a question on the border among many others. Hopefully we'll get into all the international stuff on Monday. A lot of stuff happening over the weekend, and anyway.
We're going to take our questions. I want to ask you a question about immigration diplomacy. When he was vice president, Joe Biden went to Guatemala in the summer of 2014. You were on that trip as his national security advisor at the time. He went because of what was then an unprecedented surge of unaccompanied minors coming across the border. One of the things he said on that trip in June of 2014 was, we can, A, first make clear in each of our countries in an unrelenting way, not just with a public service announcement, that there is no free pass, that none of these children or women bringing children will be eligible under the existing law in the United States of America. He said that was number one, and then he went on to describe root causes and American aid. Why has that not been the message that this White House is sending now, clear and unrelenting, that none of these children or women bringing children will be eligible under the existing law?
So the president has made clear, and this administration has made clear, that we are going to pursue an effective and humane immigration policy and unwind what we believe was the ineffective and inhumane policy over the course of the last 4 years. That's point number one. Point number two is we've made clear that now is not the time to come to the United States. We are dealing with a circumstance in which we have to build the capacity to be able to assess the asylum claims of individuals who arrive here, and we have to deal with the obvious public health effects of a pandemic. So we are sending the message clearly, and you heard it from Roberta Jacobson from this podium earlier this week. We're doing so in the region as well. But the president also believes that under our laws, people who are claiming asylum deserve to have their cases heard properly, effectively, efficiently, and as swiftly as possible, and that is the policy that we are going to pursue.
Do you really believe that message is being received clearly in an unrelenting way? I mean, there was a young man quoted in the Wall Street Journal this week who said that this president seems more friendly to him than the prior one, and he believes he'll be able to come to the United States on that basis.
So this is day by day something that we need to be able to communicate from a range of different perspectives from this podium, in the region itself, on the airwaves, and we will continue to do so as we go forward.
Well, that was communicated on Monday with said Roberta Jacobson. Take it away, Roberta. And for some reason, we can't play the video anymore. Maybe she doesn't want to be seen either.
Así que yo creo que es muy importante subrayar el caso que la frontera no está cerrada y el viaje es muy peligroso y la gente realmente no debían llegar a los Estados Unidos en una manera irregular ahora.
You're telling them not to come.
So, I think it is very important to underline the case that the border is not closed and the trip very dangerous, and people really should not arrive in the United States in an irregular way now. But see, even though she misspoke, we think, she's saying just don't come now. See, people don't understand that, Roberta. They don't understand that, Jake. And the policy has never been stated plainly from any podium. Because it's always, don't come, but later we're opening up the doors wide. Of course, we're always told nobody's coming, and then they say this. Angela Fuentes, come on down! You know, that's That's what the people down there are hearing. Come on down. Probably my fault for putting that on there. All right, we're running low on time. Let's see if we can get through all this quickly. Biden administration stops enforcing Trump-era public charge green card restrictions following court order. That should have been appealed. What that is, Trump decided, hey, if you're going to have to be on public assistance, you don't need to come here. Okay, if you're going to have to be on food stamps and Medicaid and all this, don't come here. Well, no, because we need your poor, you're tired, you're hungry. We've got food stamps, we've got Medicaid, we'll give you a home. We'll put you in a home. We've got homeless, but we'll put you in a home. You know, some things just make sense. Just make sense. Now, I'm sure this man knows nothing of what he's talking about, but Border Patrol Union Chief says daily migrant surge, worst he's witnessed in 24 years. Probably knows nothing. Jim knows more than him. Why do we listen to these people? Couple of cartoons. Here's one. As you can see here, at the southern border, President Trump keeps kids in cages. The exact same building with bars on the window. Whereas President Biden keeps children safe in migrant facilities. Same kid looking out the bars. You know, everyone knows. Just reporting, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, this one, I like this one. All the kids in cages back there. And one says, see no evil. The donkey says, speak no evil. And, you know, Uncle Joe there says, do evil. So, anyway, maybe you don't think that's funny. All right. Okay, I've got a couple of more, and then we're done and on to inside information. This is a Fox report, and we're going to show the video, and you're going to have to look close. But anyway, migrants smuggled across Texas River as border crossing surge, video shows. Now, this is not happening because Jen said it's not happening. These people are being turned away. The only ones getting in are children. Okay? And we are lovingly going to take care of them. And as Secretary Mayorkas told us not long ago, DHS Secretary Mayorkas, then parents will have the option to either have those kids returned to them or they can come here and be reunited with the kids, and we'll do whatever we can to make you comfortable here. Why wouldn't you send your kids? All right, but here we go. Here is the said video. I stop at nothing to bring you as good a show as I can make on my iPhone 11. And with free apps. All right, come on.
The video you mentioned, Steve, take a look at this. In the Rio Grande Valley, where I was yesterday at the river crossing, just hundreds on the bank coming hour after hour. I have been multiple times to that very point, and I can tell you it's certainly in full force right now. Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy speaking out yesterday. He'll be making a trip down to the border on Monday. Here's a little bit of what he has to say about this situation. Listen.
441,000 crossings in February. Did you see the line of people waiting on the other side of the Rio Grande to be taken across in the boat? What was there, 7 to 9 people in the boat? They're waiting there all day. I bet they have their little wristbands on. But they're not coming. This is not happening. And I am so sure, I would stake your money on it, that there is a COVID testing place right under that, on the bank of the U.S. where they're bringing them to test each one of them for COVID-19. I'm positive of that. Doesn't it ever make you wonder, how come the press can get there but the Border Patrol can't? All right, we've got oh, wait a minute. Forgot something. I hope those people don't feel like this. I play that for my wife. All right, some God formation. Some inside info here. Hey! Yay, not much. You don't have to watch much longer. Come on, it's been a good show. You've learned a lot. It's been somewhat entertaining. Anyway, here we go. Give me the God Formation book. See? It's got a lot of stuff in it. All right. The backslapping today at the signing ceremony, official ceremony for the American Rescue Plan. Don't be fooled. That was backslapping for payoffs. That's not about you. All right, this weekend there are some high-level discussions in the old White House trying to figure out who's going to babysit Joe while he's going out and about around the country, because sometimes Jill won't be there. She'll be at her own place. And when she's gone, who's going to watch him while he's in the White House, etc., and etc. And, you know, that's sad, isn't it? That is sad. So, and he thinks, because he thinks he did something. Yeah, I don't write very well. I can't read my own writing. Because he's going to be out wanting to talk to people, wanting to, make his thoughts known. And they're going to have to hold him in. All right, so the planners are really working hard to get the Senate to drop the filibuster so the Equality Act can go through, because they know then they can basically change church forever in this country. And so everything they've got is going into dropping the filibuster, because the Republicans aren't going to pass it. I don't think it'll hold up in court, but you never know these days, do you? And so that way, because they know that the last thing holding the country together is the church. That's why they didn't want it reopened. I know some of you watching, church doesn't do this or that. You have no idea. But they are working tirelessly to get that in, because they want to change our country financially, morally, and independently. They don't want us to be independent any longer. They don't want us to be moral, because moral people have certain limits they won't cross. All right, they want to get rid of the filibuster so bad they are willing to do almost anything to get it through, because they know this one bill can do more than they have been able to do in decades. That means watch out for executive orders and other payoffs going to the regime. Now, the other part of the planners, the Israeli elections are coming up, and there's a struggle between Benjamin Netanyahu and Naftali Bennett. I think that's the way you say his name. And now they're in trouble. They did not expect Bennett to be gaining popularity, and they want Netanyahu over Bennett, because Bennett's a lot tougher. And they don't know what to do now, because they've been working against Netanyahu. Now they've got to go work for Netanyahu. They want to hold off any attacks until he's in, unless they can get a come-from-behind, more liberal candidate, which none of them are looking good. So they are really stuck, especially since Iran is doing more and more, and Israel actually is targeting Iranian tankers in the Gulf, trying to sell oil to Syria, because they know all that oil money that we should be blockading, but we're not. We shouldn't have dropped all of our left my mind. All of our sanctions against Iran. They're selling the money to Syria, through Syria to other places, and Israel is stopping them because they don't want a nuclear Iran, which we seem to want now. Anyway, that's the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a happy week. If I didn't thoroughly depress you. But remember, tomorrow and Sunday, rest up. It's going to be a big Monday show. Thanks for watching. I really do mean that. Pray for the country. Pray for one another. God bless America, and God bless you.